When Nissan said we were going to the global headquarters for a very special test drive, we thought we'd be driving these two cars, the Nissan Skyline GT and the Nissan GT-R in a midnight jade. Absolutely gorgeous. But no, these are not the cars we're going to be driving, but they've got something really cool for us lined up today, because we've got the X-Trail e-Force e-Power, we've got the Serena e-Power, and the Nissan Ariya full EV. Next time, baby. Well, that next time is now. Hey everyone, Vince here from AutoIndustriya, and what we have for you is a 2023 Nissan GT-R for the Philippine market. This is the first time I think that they're lending it out. So hopefully we don't scuff anything today, because this is a pretty pricey car by all accounts. Now the GT-R, a lot of you guys, particularly Nissan enthusiasts, know what this is. This is basically Nissan's supercar. Well, they call it sports car, but the performance of the vehicle really makes it more like, well, an exotic car rival kind of thing. It's not a mid-engine rear-wheel drive. Well, they call it a premium midship engine rear-wheel drive. No, not rear-wheel drive. Primarily rear-wheel drive with all-wheel drive. They call it the Atesa all-wheel drive system. Now, this version, this is kind of the latest one that was just launched in the Philippine market just a few months ago. So it has a few updated details, particularly with the front. It looks a bit more aggressive. It has these nicer vents, and of course, the really nice hexagonal light arrangement that they have there. They updated a few bits and pieces, but when you look at it, it is still very much a GT-R. Now, from that angle, you can see that it's still a two-door performance car. It's still a four-seater, two in the front, two in the back. But as you can see, it's a rather beefy one compared to a lot of other, let's say, Japanese sports cars on the market. It's very, very aggressive in the way it actually stands up from the road. And by the way, speaking of aggressive, you may want to check out the wheels, particularly the brakes and the tires. The brakes, of course, being a very high performance car, it's a very, very big set of brakes that this one has, and really nice wheels. But you do have to pay attention to the tires, because the SP Sport Max, if you look at the tread, come in closer, if you look at the tread pattern on these things, when it comes to water clearing, I'm not too sure. It doesn't really seem to prioritize weather resistance, or all in all, I mean, the clearing of water from the tread. So you have to be careful when the road gets really wet, especially if you're going fast. Now, some of the other details here. You can see that the actual, when you open the door, by the way, it goes like that. It's in reverse. Why did I lock the car? Let me see. Where's that key? You can press here, unlock it. To open it, it's kind of in reverse like that, which is different. And when you do open it, well, the interior, very much a performance car kind of interior. Nice sports seats. They're not for everyone. I'll show you in a bit. Steering wheel over there, so and so. But you can also get two more people in the back. But you may want to make sure that the people you put in the back aren't exactly tall, because looking at there right now, there's not much leg room, knee room going around there. Also, if you take it to the track, which by the way, being GT-R, meaning Gran Turismo racing, well, if you do put on a helmet, you have to watch out when you get in and out, because this part here slopes a bit downward. So you have to be careful when you're wearing a helmet. You might, hit that bit, but still no real problem there. Now, these taillights are very much signature GT-R, actually even from the Skyline GT-R. And this is going to be the view that a lot of people are going to have of the GT-R if they try to drive with one very fast. It's just going to leave you behind, showing you the dual taillights on each side. So what you have here, GT-R emblem. You have this nice spoiler, of course. All of it, it's very much functional. That's what Nissan does. They work on the aerodynamics of the vehicle, because these cars are really meant to go fast. They work on the underside, the front, the rear, even the down below with, well, whatever else they have going down there. Now, you do have a third brake light there. You also have these quad exhaust pipes. Of course, being a 3.8 liter twin turbo V6. It does need a huge exhaust system, so that's what it has. No fake tailpipes here. It even has the discoloration that you would get with a lot of tuner style exhausts. Anyways, when it comes to trunk space, let's pop that now. Now, trunk space isn't really going to be something important to a GT-R owner, but still, you know, it's there. It's got a respectable tub. I'm not going to bother measuring that. Maybe I will. I'll just show the supers later. And then right here in the back, this is still very much a fresh unit. So you have, you know, the manual, the booklets and stuff. I mean, I wonder if I can bring this home, the warranty information booklet, the tow rings and all that stuff. But really, it's a pretty spacious boat considering what this vehicle is meant to be. It even has this pull down strap so you don't have to touch the bodywork when you close the GT-R trunk. I could really look at this engine all day. It just looks like a masterpiece. This is the VR38DE-TT, meaning it's a V engine, V6, 3.8 liter, hence the 38, and having the TT at the end means twin turbo. It's one of the most powerful production engines really being fielded by a Japanese automaker. And it's one of the most special too. I mean, even if you look here, it's one of those hand-built engines that Nissan is known for, particularly for the GT-R. Power, it's got 570 PS of power available on tap. It sends all that power and torque over to the rear because the actual transmission of this one is over in the back, independent of the engine. So it has a prop shaft there, and then it sends the power to the transmission, and then it sends it back up to the front for the front wheel drive part, and then it has rear wheel drive also for an all-wheel drive vehicle, and a very high performance one. Nissan calls it the Atessa ETS system. Now, what else can we spot around the engine bay? I already pointed out the name of the Takumi that built it. You have battery there, brake fluid there. It's a very tight engine bay, and if you look at how it's mounted, Gaelic, go over to the side. If you notice, the actual engine sits just a little bit over or a little bit behind the actual center line of the front wheels. That's what you call a front midship design. It allows you for a bit better balance when it comes to the way the car is overall, when it comes to the weight distribution. That gives you better handling on top of the all-wheel drive system. What else do we see? We see carbon fiber supports here. It's also made of steel and aluminum and of course carbon fiber. And then you have these intakes over there. That is from, both of those are from the NACA ducts up on top. Very, very cool detail. Right, so that about does it for the exterior of the GT-R. Let's go check out the view from inside. Oy, easy lang barn. Alam mo, kaka 13th month pay mo lang, mahuhulugan mo pa yung salamin ng GT-R. But if you do end up cracking the glass on your Nissan GT-R, have no fear because our friends from Aguila Auto Glass have you covered. They have 26 branches all around Luzon, and they're ready to serve you with your auto glass needs. Yes, even for the Nissan GT-R. How cool is that? Aguila Auto Glass has been in the business for more than 70 years, and they're very much known for treating customers just like family. They're a premium partner of AutoIndustriya.com, and they help us keep our reviews independent so we can give you the lowdown on all the cars in the market. Now let's go to drive it. Barn, muntikan ka na mag-salary deduction na, grabe. Now, if you step into a GT-R expecting a luxurious interior, then you may be disappointed. Because Nissan, when it comes to the GT-R particularly, is not really known for having an interior that's going to rival things like, some of the exotics out there. Because this is still very much a performance car. They're not really going for like ultra luxury kind of thing. And you can see that with the front, because all you get is the leather here. I mean, soft touch there all around. But the colorway that they chose on this version is very much monochromatic, pretty much all black and gray with some carbon fiber trim going around. The last GT-R I drove, I think, I remember it had the brown leather interior, maybe a bit too light brown for me, but at least it stood out in that kind of respect. It made you feel like it's in a high-end interior kind of thing. But again, still more of a performance car, so everything is very much performance oriented. You look at the steering wheel, it's a 3-spoke design with paddle shifters there. I mean, you do have the buttons for your cruise control here. It's not the adaptive kind. This doesn't have the Nissan system where, you know, it has a Pro Pilot and all that. This one does not have it, at least in the Philippine market. You do have this audio controls on the left. And then what's unique here, being driver oriented, is there are 2 ways to adjust the steering wheel. One is by the tilt, and the other one is a telescopic adjust. So, and it does have individual toggles for either one. So you pull one toggle, you can put it up and down. If you notice, the steering wheel and the gauge cluster go up and down, so you'd never have an unobstructed view of the instrument cluster. The other toggle, where is that? Right over here. There you go. You pull, when you push that down, it's the telescopic style. So depends on how you want to adjust, but you should be able to find a comfortable one for you. But in my case, I mean, clearly this is, you know, when they were designing the ergonomics on the car, they didn't have a guy like me in mind sitting here. So for me, the pedal position relative to the steering wheel, no matter how I adjust it, it's not perfect for my body type. For yours, maybe so, because I find that it goes a bit too deep for my liking. Still, when it comes to the instruments, it does have a very nice carbon fiber style instrument cluster going on there. Tachometer right in the middle, proper performance car. Speedometer on the left goes all the way to 340. We're not going to take it up to 340. We'll let people with a nice racetrack do that kind of thing. You have your fuel gauge, temperature gauge, all there. And then right here, while it is a bit more modernized, it's still a bit old school because it still has a CD player right there along with an SD card slot right over there for the maps. But still, it's more modern. I don't think it has Apple CarPlay or Android Auto though. We'll have to double check, but I plugged in my phone. It did not activate any kind of connectivity with the vehicle. But what's neat here, it does have, you know, the usual, like the Bluetooth, AM, FM, all that stuff. But again, it does have the USB, but it doesn't, I mean, if you look, it still has iPod. How, like, that's almost old school now. But what's neat here, when you press a function button, you can have a different kind of instrument display for the GT-R. This is what the GT-R is known for, particularly even with the Skyline GT-R before, the R34. You have these kinds of different digital gauges. Right now we're showing the boost. Right now we're running about negative 10 p. Well, we're not really driving right now, so it's there right there. Engine oil temp in C in Celsius. Engine oil pressure. And then we go here. This is the braking performance right there. Accelerator pedal. So when you rev it, it'll go. You'll see a little bit of the percentage there. This is the G meter. And then you have coolant temp, steering angle. There you go. So you have all these kinds of gauges, but the one we really like is the G meter, and also it does have the lap timer right there. Now down below it, dual zone climate control. Nothing really of note there. Ignition button here. But what's nice is right here. Now this is something we've seen in a lot of the other GT-Rs we've driven. It's basically how you adjust the car. This one does have active suspension. So right now we can put it to comfort mode. It's at its most pliant when you're just cruising on the road. It's not going to be super comfortable. We'll show you when we're driving. The other one is R. Lift and hold. Once that's lit up, basically it's at its firmest setting. And that's best reserved for a racetrack. The transmission is what is different about the GT-R in particular. So right now we are in P. By the way, this is a double clutch transmission. So right now we're in P, and then reverse is right there. And then once we put it into drive, right? When you put it in drive, it has it in automatic by default when you pop it down. But if you push it over here, right, it goes into manual mode, and then you can select the gears that you want by using the paddle shifters. There is no manual gate on this one, so it's really only here. But yep, that about does it for the interior of the GT-R. The rear seat, well, one of my guys is sitting back there. You know, he's one of the shortest ones in our team, and he's a good fit there. But again, keep in mind that this is more of a 2+2, not really a full-on 4-seater kind of thing. You will have to adjust how everyone is sitting to be able to accommodate people there. That's a lot of words. Well, let's go and check out how it drives. So finally, we're out of EDSA. We're here up in Marilake, a road that we're very, very familiar with, especially back in the old days. I remember coming here 06, 07, 08, 09. There weren't any cars, there weren't any, as many, anywhere near as many motorcycles as there are now. We used to be able to do shoots here and not be bothered, but not anymore. Times have changed, and people, have come to the place where we used to call the playground. From back in the day. And really, this is kind of a fitting place for the GT-R because it allows you to experience two sides of the vehicle right here. The first one is the GT part, meaning Grand Touring. You can just drive here casually. You don't have to go fast. You don't have to be aggressive with it. You can have a conversation with the person next to you, especially right now that the asphalt is nice. But on some of the rougher parts of this road, it can get a bit noisy. Because being a GT-R, the R meaning the race part of the vehicle, is that there are going to be compromises when it comes to the comfort of the vehicle. It's not going to be fully comfortable like some of the other GTs out there, because really the tires are wide, the suspension is going to be firm. Even right now we're in comfort mode. Let me put it into R mode and see what the suspension is like. Yeah, you can feel the front is a bit more bouncy. You can feel a bit more of the road in your back, so that's something to be expected in the vehicle. But then again, that's what you buy the vehicle for. But what it gives you is it gives you those two sides. It gives you the side that can cruise comfortably, and it gives you the side that wants to be a aggressive racer on the weekend. That is the beauty of GT-R. And we can talk about things like fuel economy, like fuel economy of this one. We're getting around in the city, average speed of 16 kilometers per hour, around 3.5 kilometers per liter. When the speed goes up a little bit, it goes around maybe 4.5, around 20 kilometers per hour average. On the highway, don't expect any more than 10, depending on how heavy you are with the gas pedal. But really, those numbers don't really matter too much if you're in a GT-R. What really matters here is when you put it into manual, put it into race, and step on the gas. Right there. Whoa. Oh God, it just grips and grips, and it doesn't want to let go. That is what you want in a GT-R. You've got 570 horsepower built by the master craftsman they have over there at Nissan Nismo. You have the name. I think I'll check out the name of the guy who built this on, because they really take pride in this engine. They really take pride in the performance that the GT-R grants you. And they have these craftsman guys over at Nismo. They each build the engine by hand. Well, not really by hand, but they have a lot of equipment. But they really make sure they take pride in the assembly part of it, building it, and then they put a little plate with the craftsman name on the valve cover, which I think is really cool. It's like their badge of honor, it's like their achievement, and you carry that with you wherever you go. And then now, when you punch it, really, it gives you the 570 horsepower. I mean, depending on the RPM, of course, but it gives you the acceleration that you want, and more importantly, the torque that you need going through the all-wheel drive system. And of course, Nissan is known, particularly the GT-R, the Skyline GT-Rs, is known for the way the all-wheel drive system actually behaves, because that's what won it so many championships back then, and that's why they even banned it, to outlaw it, because it was just too dominant. But really, you can enjoy it here on the road or on the racetrack. And mind you, the racetrack is great, but if you really want to enjoy what GT-R is about, the two sides of GT-R, you take it on the road on the weekdays or the weekends, and you take it out onto the racetrack when you do get the opportunity. Just be sure to cool down the brakes once in a while, because that's one of the things that's really going to be a factor with the GT-R, because it is a heavy vehicle, and the brakes are going to take a bit of a beating even though they're a bit bigger. So don't forget to cool down your brakes. But For most of the time, you're gonna drive it here, you're gonna enjoy it, and then you're gonna put it in comfort mode, you're gonna cruise, you're gonna have a nice conversation with the person next to you, probably a date, and really, you can enjoy what the GT-R can deliver. Something comfortable for most driving, and then something brash and aggressive when you want it to be. Well, looks like it's really raining on our parade right now, but man, what a drive the Nissan GT-R gives. It's really no joke when we say that the GT-R is one of the best performing cars you can buy right now, unless you're looking for something like, a Ferrari or something along those lines. But the problem with the GT-R now is pricing. You see, in 2017, when they first launched the GT-R in the Philippines, the retail price of basically what would this model would be is around 7.5 million. Right now, this is 12.5, and it's essentially the same car. I mean, there are some improvements here and there, but it's kind of hard to pinpoint where the extra 5 million went into the car. But hey, this is one of those things where if you really want it, you just have to have it. It's not a logical purchase. It's something you buy because you want the performance, you want the macho looks of the vehicle. It really is unique, and it might be the last of its kind for now, at least until the new GT-R based on the Hyperforce we saw at the Tokyo Motor Show, Japan Mobility Show, comes to fruition. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya.com. Thank you for watching. Now, where shall we go drive next?